아무 느낌 없었어요 지금까지. 최악입니다. 이제 올라가야죠.
DRX! 다 왔어요, 다 왔어요.
데레프트
꽉 잡아라.
DRX
올라간다. 연승을 찍어버립니다.
정말 미친 플레이인데요. 광동의 길.
야! 페이크!
페이크.
광동의 분위기가 만들어지고 있는데요. 4연패 끊어냅니다. 광동 프릭스.
고점이 어딘진 안 봅니다.
아직은 덜 보여줬기 때문에.
which we have prepared earlier. Both of these teams came from the bottom, now we're here, Wolf.
Yeah, both of these teams started with losing streaks, and now they ended up 4th and 5th in playoffs here. Kwangdong Freaks, of course, winning that tiebreaker match to head into 5th place. But if you look at their road to get here, DRX started off with 3 losses, then went on a massive tear at the end of round 1, had very strong finish in round 2, nearly getting 3rd place in the regular season. On the other side for Kwangdong Freaks, an even rougher start. They had that 6-game loss streak, or split, of course, by that one win over Live Sandbox in round 1, but in round 2, beating everybody except the big 3 here to make it into the playoffs.
Yep, and then you've got it led by the top side of the map. Both of these teams relying on their top laners. Kingen, less at the beginning of the season, but we saw his meteoric rise, and a large reason why it was that 6-match winning streak. His huge Gnar plays, of course, I love it when he picks things like the gangplank there towards the top side, but he's up against the Keen test, Wolf. This is our biggest top lane test. It has been for like forever, right? Like Marin leaves and then it's a couple of years and then Keen, you know? You've got Marin, Smeb, Keen, and then Keen has just stayed forever. He's had so many outplays this season. This Akali play that we're highlighting here is massive as well.
Speaking of Akali, let's talk about undefeated Akali, Zeka, heading up against Fate here in the mid lane. Both of these players are 2nd and 3rd in solo kills right now in the mid lane, and majority of these solo kills are not actually in the laning phase, but actually around the map. Notice this particular pick against Deft himself from Zeka. There's finds so many, actually this is not that pick, but this is another one he gets onto aiming here. On his Akali, on his LeBlanc, you know, we've seen Zeka get so many solo kills actually out on the map in brushes when they have vision control, which is going to be so critical in a series like this. They both love their assassin play. I think that's what's really going to play into how the priority goes in mid. I think things like Ahri, things like LeBlanc are going to be massive here. Even though this record, 5-4, doesn't seem that impressive, remember Kwangdong Freaks started off with a really rough start to the season. This is that pick on the Deft I was thinking of earlier.
Yeah, this is actually that matchup in game 1.
Exactly, and this is just such an impressive outplay here we've seen from Fate so many times. When they have vision control on the LeBlanc, he does so well.
No, he's just absolutely amazing. Fate really is someone to look at, but I think eyes are going to be glued to the bottom lane, Wolf. Deft versus Teddy is a tale as old as time. It goes back to the telecom war, right? T1 versus KT all those years ago when, of course, it was SKT instead of T1. But now they're backed by former Damwon Kia players in Beryl and Hoyt there beside them. Hoyt has really been an uptick, but we need to talk about Deft first. His Jinx, his gigantic win rate was hindered a little bit this season. 4 losses so far, 8-4 on the Jinx as it stands, but he is still so incredibly formidable on the pick. He gets a lot out of his gold as well. Like that gold stat actually did lower a little bit during the massive winning streak. Deft was making way more out of the money that he was actually picking up. Plus, he's the 2nd leading kill scorer here in the LCK, just behind Faker. And by just behind, I mean like 600 behind, but Faker's been playing for absolutely forever and he didn't go to China. So it's a little bit of a different story. Deft, absolute king in his own right, but Teddy's the fountain laser, Wolf.
Yeah, Teddy also in the matchup against Deft is just almost 50-50 with him, which is pretty crazy. We consider how long these two have been pros, but also on the different scale of teams they've been on. Deft has kind of been on the top side of things more than Teddy has. Of course, Teddy recently on T1 turned that around quite a bit. Notice the solo kills here, though, in lane and in the 80 carry matchup. Doing extremely well is Teddy. Such an exciting matchup we have on our hands here, Atlas, with DRX against Kwangdong Freaks.
그래서 긴장되고요. 이번 플레이오프를 첫 걸음으로 좋은 성적 거뒀으면 합니다. 저희가 이제 정규 시즌 막바지에 다양한 시도를 했는데 그 중에서 저희 팀이 가장 잘 소화해내고 좋은 모습을 보일 수 있는 뱀픽을 광동전 상대로 준비해서 왔습니다. 아무래도 기인 선수가 요새 폼이 좋으니까 상체 쪽에 구도에 따라서 게임 양상이 많이 결정되지 않을까 싶습니다. 저희 팀의 조합이나 컨셉을 잘 이해하고 제대로 된 실행이 되는 게 중요하다고 생각합니다. 전부 다 3대 0으로 이길 마음으로 시작은 하겠지만 사실 스코어보다는 이제 좋은 경기력으로 게임을 임하는 게 더 중요한 포커스로 잡고 있습니다. 이제 플레이오프 첫 시작인데 이번 경기를 통해서 계속 성장해 나오고 또 좋은 결과 나올 수 있도록 최선을 다하겠습니다. 정규 시즌 계속 달려오느라 고생 너무 많았고 상대가 누구든 우리가 할 수 있는 최선의 플레이랑 우리가 할 수 있는 운영 보여주면서 게임에 임했으면 좋겠다. 파이팅!
저희가 1라운드 때 성적이 되게 좋지 않았잖아요. 근데 이제 2라운드 때 결국 플레이오프까지 오게 됐는데 어렵게 진출한 만큼 좋은 경기 보여드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 일단 저희가 제일 잘할 수 있는 걸 하는 걸로 일단 준비를 해왔고요. 네, 그렇습니다. 선수들 컨디션은 되게 좋은 것 같아요. 저희가 좀 풀업 전까지는 좀 쉬는 날이 많이 없어가지고 선수들이 피곤해했는데 최근에는 휴식도 많이 했고 오늘 좀 다들 좋은 것 같아요. 오늘 좀 미드라인이 제가 보기엔 중요하다고 생각을 하고 그리고 저희 팀의 키플레이어라고 하면은 근데 역시 미드라고 오늘 생각하고 있습니다. 혹시 상대 팀은 좀 베릴 선수가 확실히 플레이메이킹이 좋은 선수라 그 부분을 조금 고려하고 있는 것 같아요. 저희가 3대 1로 이길 거라고 생각합니다. 이번 스프링 시즌 정말 쉽지 않았고 선수들 힘들었을 거 이제 알고 있는데 이제 마지막 플레이오프 꼭 다 같이 잘해서 좋은 결과 얻었으면 좋겠다. 얘들아, 파이팅!